are listening to the Rachael Maves podcast, and I'm Rachael Maves, your host. Today, we are talking to Kristen Mandell. Kristen is an experienced educator and administrator with a diverse background spanning K-12 leadership, admissions, and curriculum development. Currently serving as principal of Southern California Flex Academy, she leads a fully remote independent study program focused on innovative and student-centered learning. With a strong foundation in Montessori education and public school systems, Kristen brings nearly 2 decades of expertise in educational leadership, strategic planning, and community engagement. Her passion for equitable, high-quality education drives her mission to empower students and educators alike in evolving learning environments. Kristen, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So I'm really excited to connect with you. This is our first time getting to know one another, which I'm always thrilled with on the podcast when I get to meet new people. And I am particularly interested in hearing your story. Like, tell me a little bit about why you chose education and how you ended up in this career.
Yeah, so I think my story is really similar to a lot of educators out there. I had an exceptional teacher when I was very young, and she made me feel like she truly, genuinely cared about me as a person. Not just as one of her students. I very clearly remember sitting in her class, and she's going over handwriting, and we were doing cursive at the time, and mine wasn't great. I was struggling. I was rushing, is what it was. I was rushing through it, and she sat next to me. She talked me through it. She helped me calm down, slow down. So she wasn't so focused on what I was doing, but more how was I doing it. And that, to me, I was in 5th grade at the time. And, even at that young age, I felt that. Like, I felt, wow,
Yeah.
she actually cares about how I'm doing this, and what my experience is around this. And so what ended up happening was I didn't necessarily get better at handwriting, but I got more interested in being better at handwriting, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So just her moments, let's be honest, with me, it changed just how I looked at it. I wanted to do better. Right. I wanted to say to myself, like, wow, I can do this. And look, I am capable because somebody else really believes in me. So I had that moment. And from there, it just sort of sparked this curiosity, this interest in helping others. That's really where it came from, that evolved into just wanting to be helpful. And I found along my college path a way to be helpful in the classroom, and so I in college I started at a tutoring center. Really enjoyed it, and then from there went on for my credential, and spent several decades in the classroom and now in administration. So I really it's all because of her.
Oh, I love that story. And I love too the piece that you highlight of that understanding of a teacher of, yes, there's this outcome with cursive that we have to get to, but to be able to really see you as the child to say, but until we can deal with this piece, like your anxiety, your frustration,
Exactly.
you're going too fast, we're not going to get to that end outcome, which is just, I think, such a beautiful picture of good teachers.
100%. Yeah, you nailed it for sure.
So I'd love to hear, if you don't mind sharing a little bit more, maybe you could tell our listeners, especially those who aren't in education, like you run a very different program, an independent study program that's fully remote. I'd love to hear if you could, one, just give an overview of what that is and how that's different than, traditional programs, but then also, I'd love to hear how you ended up in that space. Like, what was that trajectory like to go from, classroom teacher, I would assume in a traditional setting, and then now moving into this space?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's so many years in there, so I'll try to make it quick. didn't for sure happen overnight. It's been a very long journey of getting here. I've been with SCFA, Southern California Flex Academy, for 4 years now. So I've
Mhm.
already been in this space for quite some time. Um, so let me start with just like who we are, what we do, and what makes us
Mhm.
unique and different. So we are a charter. We're fully non-classroom based, and we are independent study. And I always like to say that being one of
Mm.
those things would make us really unique, and being all three together makes us super unique.
Yeah.
And so basically, the biggest difference between us and your traditional school, traditional brick and mortar school, is our students work independently in the curriculum, at
Mhm.
home with a learning coach, which is sometimes the parent, but it's the adult that is there with them, who is supporting them in the home.
Mhm.
And so we have an online based curriculum that we use. It guides the students through each piece of each course. And if you've ever done a college class online, it's very similar to that. They have modules. They go through the content within the modules, and after each module, there's a practice that they do. There's formative and summative assessments that are embedded in there, and then they get to move on to the next module after they finish the previous one. So they do that independently at home. But what makes us unique to even independent study is that we as a school offer several hours of live sessions for students. So they get to be on camera with their teacher for up to 4 hours every day, where they can actually go through that content face to face with their teacher in their class
Mhm.
with their fellow students. It's an option which we strongly recommend because it does lead to greater academic success. But it's a great way to foster that socialization piece, but it's also an exceptional way to get that content to the
Yeah.
kids in a way that's digestible for them. We highly, highly recommend that students attend those live sessions that we offer them every single day for 4 hours. So it also takes that burden off the learning coach that, hey,
Yeah.
put your kiddo with the teacher and have the teacher teach them, and
Yep.
they're available. So that's what separates us out. How did I get to independent study? How did I get to online? Um, so I've done it all in education. I feel like a lot of teachers could say they just wear a lot of
Mm.
hats, right? And so I don't know if I could say there's like a very specific way I ended up on online and in this space, other than luck. Luck and the universe just really wanted me to be here. I'm
How
not I'm
on.
not sure of another reason, but it has been an amazing journey with this school. I can 100% say that I have learned more about myself and about
Yeah.
education and the role I'm in now than I had in my other 2 decades of teaching in the classroom, and in my other admin roles. This has just been a phenomenal experience.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Well, especially in light of your unique context and what you said, I think is right. The Any one of those things would set you apart, but all three of them together, I mean, that's like a very narrow group of organizations that run in that space. I'd love to hear just a little bit more, Kristen, about like what keeps you up at night as you think about the students that you're seeing and engaging with your staff. What are those things that really weigh heavy on you?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that weighs on me, I wouldn't say weighs on me in a negative way, but it's always in the back of my mind. It's what drives most of our purpose at SCFA, but it really ties into my personal feelings of education, is this like balancing act that we have to do between supporting academic success and
Mm.
social and emotional well-being. So,
Yeah.
we as educators, right? We know we have a measurable result that has to happen. We have to grow academically, and there are a lot of ways we measure that through data, and we have to meet those goals. We want to meet those goals. But I feel like a lot of times that social emotional piece, that social emotional well-being gets left behind in that drive for academic success. But what really makes me pause and go, okay, that I have to find this balance is I think back to my own experience that
Yes,
I was
that's right.
not going to master handwriting unless right unless
Yeah.
I got out of my head right
Yep.
and I unless I stopped thinking I can't do this and my hand doesn't work like that like I that's what I thought. It's like, that wasn't true. Like I had to have somebody had to help me get
Yeah.
past that speed bump of my thinking my hand doesn't function like this. Like, like
Yeah.
I
Yep.
can't do that. And so I keep going back to that and I think, okay, well, we can't get to that academic piece unless we first address the social emotional piece. That's the foundation. And so that's what keeps
Mhm.
me up at night. It's how do we continue to address that social emotional piece and constantly be refreshing what we are doing to address it
Yes.
so that we're setting a positive, firm foundation for that academic growth. Because I mean, you don't build that foundation and then something can happen and they just get set back
Mhm.
academically because something happened in their life that they weren't capable of handling because they didn't
Mhm.
have the tools for it.
Yeah.
So we are, it's something that we work on here. It's one of our main programs at SCFA, is supporting students through social and emotional support. And I think that's been a really big piece of why we've been able to be successful.
Yeah, I think that's great. Well, and kind of on that note, I'd love to hear the specifics of like what are the two things that you guys have really focused on around social emotional support that you feel like are making a difference for your students?
Yeah, yeah. So we were in a really unique situation when we opened. So we're a relatively new school.
Mm.
We opened just before the pandemic.
Oh,
So
wow.
we didn't open in response to the pandemic. We didn't know it was coming, but we opened it just before. Um, and we were a little small school, just kind of getting up and running. And pandemic hit, the whole world changed. Everybody went remote.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people found us because we had already been established. We had our program set. We weren't scrambling, and to no fault of their own, but we weren't scrambling like other schools had to do in that moment. We had already had things set. So I think people found us
Mm.
and saw the stability there. So the result of that was a lot of growth. And so we did it. And it what we found was everybody was just in like fight or flight mode, right? We didn't
Yeah.
know what was going on in the world. Parents were not working or they were working or we didn't know what was going on. And so
Yes.
we all as a team took a pause and we went,
Mhm.
yeah, we can't even like I would love to do some math right now. But I've got kids literally panicking because they don't know where they're getting their lunch from. And I've got
Yeah.
parents panicking because their refrigerator is empty. They're hungry, they're tired. They, some of them are be- losing their housing. I mean, we were dealing with some really significant food insecurity and housing insecurity during that time. So what what happened was we got together as our small team and we went, what do we do? We got to address this. And so we
Mhm.
developed what became um, the student success team is what we call it now. And so and that was the name back then too. But we have student success coaches.
Mm.
And so basically what it is it's a team of now 4 individuals, and their sole purpose is to make sure that we're addressing the well-being of students and families.
Yeah, those
So it
human
came from
needs.
that, the
Mhm.
human needs, right? It came from
Mhm.
that experience where we just said, there's no way we can talk about testing scores right now.
Mhm.
We need to address this basic level, basic needs. And then when we do that, once we get that settled, we can really focus on our academic needs. Now, that's not to say we didn't do them in, tangent together,
Sure.
right? We
Yeah.
did them both together. But as we were building those academic supports, we were also putting in those social emotional supports.
Mhm.
So, basically it was like a stair. You put in a step here of social emotional, then you can build this one, then a social emotional, and then you can build the academic. So it really transformed into a resource for families who are struggling. And when I say struggling, I mean in any way, whether
Yep.
it's physically because they become unhoused, or they're in an unstable environment, they can't get food, and it's finding resources for them, right? So our
Mhm.
student success coaches, they know the resources that are out there that are available, and they get families connected with those resources.
Oh, I see. So they're almost like liaisons within your
It's
between the
100%.
community and the
Yeah,
school where their job is to know everything that's possibly available, and then as needs arise, they can kind
yeah,
of be the connectors and
yeah.
concierge
And that's
service almost,
there
yeah.
you go. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not as fancy as that, but yeah. So, right. But but that's exactly what it is. I mean, they literally, like, imagine you're a parent, right? And you're in a situation where, and this has happened, where you have 2 jugs of water left, and you have a loaf of bread and a roasted chicken in your fridge, and that's it. And that is it. And you're not getting any supports for several days, and you're panicking, right?
Yeah.
You are in a fight or flight mode. You are not in a space where you're going to be able to properly find a solution, because you're just
Yeah.
like, I just need a solution. So that's where these student success coaches come in, and they say, hey, listen, you live in Riverside County. This office and this office can help you to get food services. There's a food bank, close by. Oh, you don't have transportation. Okay, there's these ride services that are available, or
Wow.
delivery
Yeah.
services that are available. So, it is a you're right, it's a liaison. That's exactly what it is. They
Yeah.
know what's out there, and they're in a place where they can just offer that support.
Yeah.
And even knowing that someone is in your corner like that is so
Yeah.
helpful for
Yep.
parents. And that alone helps them to just take a breath, calm, and just say, okay, I've got this. It's going to be okay. Somebody
Yeah.
genuinely cares about what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And then we deal with it. We get them, hopefully get them what they need through the services that are available in the county. And then they can come to class and be fed, and be, available to learn once,
Yeah.
mom has settled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it is that's the program that came out of that COVID time, that has now, gosh, are we 4 years out? Yeah, right? 4 years out now, have developed it into what is now the student success team, which isn't now it's so much of a, like a panic, fight or flight mode, but really more of a resource. So
Yeah.
they've now developed what's called the learning coach corner, and this team puts together different, um, learning opportunities for parents. You've got to we have K-12, so we've got parents in all kinds of boats, and um, a lot of our parents have teenagers for the first time, right? And
I mean,
they don't
just
know what
that
to
by
feel,
itself,
right?
navigating the teen years, like,
Yeah,
where's the
exactly.
handbook?
Navigating the teen years. And so, our student success coaches, they have this learning coach corner. Parents can come to them and say, like, my teenager won't do his homework. I need tips and tricks. What do I
Yes.
do?
Yeah.
How do I help them get motivated?
Yes.
What do I even do right now? and
Yes.
they just help. They just say, hey, let's take a breath. Here's some tips and tricks that we know in education that work with kiddos. And have you
Yes.
tried positive reinforcement? Have
Yes.
the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation? And again, it's not like they're solving the problems for the parent, but they're just showing them that there's someone in their corner,
Yes,
that
that's
they
right.
can go somewhere to talk to someone who genuinely cares. And that alone provides that support that a lot of parents just need to know that somebody's there and I could just talk to them.
Well,
So,
what I love about what you've put together, Kristen, is, I mean, really it's somebody that you can be in partnership to navigate a lot of really complex things.
yep.
Like my husband works in Medicare, and helps seniors, navigate Medigap insurance. And I did not understand how complex that is
Mhm.
until like getting this insight now from listening to his stories. And it's this, wow, to have someone as these needs naturally arise at a school system that can just be side by side with you to say, "Oh
Mhm.
yeah, okay, I hear what you're going through and I can help like simplify this and normalize this and show you how like the places to connect." I mean, I just love it. I think that's brilliant. Such a great idea.
Ah, it has become a very positive place for
Yeah,
families to
I
spend
see why.
time with these coaches. They are the kindest, sweetest people you could ever imagine, and they are
Yeah.
truly, truly they are dedicated to ensuring that these families feel supported.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I am so lucky to count them uh, as colleagues, but friends.
Mm, yeah.
They just genuinely care.
Yeah.
And it is it's felt by the families too. I think that's a really important piece is it's
Sure.
authentic. So the families feel it and they feel comfortable with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. Well, this is going to be our last question. I'm interested to hear what your response is, given everything that we've talked about so far. What question in education are we not asking that we really should be?
Yeah. So um that's an interesting one. So I'm a data girl. I love the data. And so I'm constantly asking questions and I'm constantly thinking what do we need to know? What's missing from the table and who's missing from the table that we need to address? And I think that's the question is
Mm,
who's missing from the
yeah.
table? And the what I think, this is just my opinion, but I think a lot of times the students and the families get overlooked at the decision making table for schools.
Yeah.
I really see any school that's out there, whether you're a brick and mortar, you're non classroom based, you are a community of people. We have community partners that we work with, and that's
Yeah.
our teachers, our our literal vendors, and people that we work with. But I feel like the parents and the students get overlooked in that community, and it's sort of taken like for granted. Like, yeah, they're part of the community. Of course, they're part of the community. But is their voice being heard? Because we're doing things that impact them every day, and we want to make sure that what we're doing is actually helpful.
Yeah.
Right? So we're making decisions on their behalf. So we want to make sure that they have input and say into what those decisions are.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important piece for any school is to remember that we can't exist exclusively without the other.
That's
So
right.
we need,
Yeah.
right? We need the students and the parents, they need us.
Yeah.
So we need to have a kind partnership with each other
That's right.
where we're saying, hey, we want to offer you this service. What services would be helpful to you? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
obvious, right? But I think that sometimes that can get overlooked. And so we're trying to incorporate more and more of that into our school. I'm going to be doing my best to make sure that our students and our families' voices are heard,
Yeah.
and that we are incorporating what they feel would be helpful to them,
Yes.
within obviously within reason into our school. And I think that
Yeah.
student success, that is really where the student success team came from, is we heard from parents that they were struggling, confused about
Yes.
how things work,
Yeah.
confused about where to get resources, panicked in general about just life. And we would have parents come and go, I don't understand graduation, which in and of itself is a complicated thing, right? Like,
Seriously. Yes, as
right?
someone who just had somebody graduate 2 years ago and my middle now is about to graduate, I'm like, "Good night." There's
Yeah,
like
it's a
so many
lot.
pieces to
There's
this.
It's a
And I'm
lot.
an
I know.
educator.
Trust me, I know. It's a lot. And so we heard parents go saying, yeah, these are things everybody takes for granted. Your kid graduates.
Yeah.
How? We had parents who didn't realize, you don't just graduate, right? You have to earn credits to
Yeah.
graduate. And that was like a big surprise.
Yeah.
So now we have an 8th grade orientation that all 8th graders are required to attend before at that maybe a week before school ends, right before they go into 9th grade, where we tell them all this stuff about high school.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
we say, learning coaches, come listen to this, please. And we try
Yeah.
to get as many parents on board as possible, but we tell them, hey, you in the past, you went from 6th to 7th, 7th to 8th, right? Well,
Yeah.
now it's a little different. You got to
It's
earn
different.
credits.
Yeah.
It's different. You have to earn
Yeah.
credits, and there's a certain amount of credits, and not just that, but it's certain credits in certain classes
Yeah,
that you have
that's
to
right.
take.
And it affects your
And
trajectory and it has a
yeah,
ripple effect. And
right.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's different if you want to go to a UC or a
That's
Cal
right.
State or a 2-year. It's all that is so confusing, and it's something that a lot of our parents don't know about. So we heard them say, we don't get it. And so we went, great, let's figure this out.
Yeah.
Let's do 8th grade orientation and
Yeah.
give you this information, front load it for you at the very beginning. And then after that, they meet with our academic counselor every year to keep going on their path so that they're
Yeah.
supported. So I think that is something that I am excited about for the future, is continuing to bring the students and the families to the table for their
Yeah. I
decision
love
making.
that. Well,
Yeah.
kudos to you, Kristen, because that it takes a lot of leadership to be able to base what you're doing and how you're thinking about things and having that set the tone for your system. So yeah, that's just great. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to connect with you and to hear your story and about the amazing work that you're doing with your students and the families.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
A friendly reminder that Parsec Education's updated early bird sale for Parsec Partners is live until September 30th. Partners get 25% off tickets for the 2026 Measure What We Value Summit happening in Fresno, California. Don't miss this limited time offer. Secure your tickets now at parsecsummit.com.